Hey guys, I am back for hour 3 today. Definitely streaming a lot more than normal, but it's just so freaking hot here that I don't really have much else to do. Not able to do a lot of work outside and don't have the energy to do any housework, so been streaming. And actually, I've done quite a bit of work behind the scenes, trying to figure out how ITDs work and how item networks function. And I think I have done it. So this morning, I got the transmatter terminal working, and that's not particularly difficult. But I'm now realizing this may not be the avenue I really want to go, because Frackin Universe has a built-in item network through the terminal, where all the linked items show up here, and so I can look. I can filter by milk, and it has a functional scroll bar, whereas StarTech, the matter transference thing, does not have that. So if we look at wiring, I do have this hooked up for most of these now. Right now, what I've got is I've got my animals on the bottom, and they're kind of just chilling out. I've got my robotic hens have hatched. I should have a number of other eggs that I want to get hatched. Yep. So let's start with just 2 more regular hens. It's my understanding that after long enough, they will, if there are at least 2 of them, they will basically breed. You'll get an egg of that particular creature. So that's kind of one thing I'm hoping for here. And the other thing is I really just want the animal products that these generate. So I've got, this took me way longer than I would like to admit, but I got these farm beast harvest turrets, which those weren't particularly difficult to craft. I think they might have taken a molten core. Which it's a little bit higher level, but once you have those materials, it's really not too bad. And then I've got grabbers spaced throughout here. So I've got 4 grabbers. I think 3 of them are tier 3 grabbers, and then I think this one on the end is just a tier 2. Yeah, range is 8. Just because I didn't need it to go too much further than that, but it was missing some items that were falling over here. So I've got 4 grabbers set up. Those grabbers, well, grab the items, and they are all set up to transfer them into the item transference device. So my big mistake, my mistake was twofold. First, the item transference device does need to be a little bit away from any other containers. So I had it like way up here, but it was so cluttered with all the apiaries and the harvesters and the sprinklers that I think it just wasn't functioning. Or it was at least not functioning how I was expecting. And then the item transference device is also hooked up to the grabbers I've got up here, right? I have more grabbers up here as well. But the grabbers down here are actually grabbing the animal products and the plants. The grabbers I've got up here are going to be grabbing bee products, actually. That's what they're really designed for. And then there are also these plant harvesting turrets as well. So I've got the farm beast harvesting turrets to get the farm beasts down here. I've got the plant harvesting turrets to get the plants. And I did double check, and they are in range of everything, which is great. So all of the plants get automatically harvested, they get automatically watered, and they are on aeroponic tubing or whatever. So I'm not entirely sure if they grow faster, but it does seem like they grow pretty dang quick. I've also got 9 large apiaries here, and so if we look at the wiring again, I do need to set up the apiaries to go into another ITD, but that's going to be a little bit more involved for various reasons, which I'll explain once I start doing that. But then the ITD goes to the fridge, and the fridge also goes to this terminal. So if we look at the fridge, these first 3 rows up to the toxic top were what I had in there initially. And everything else, you can even kind of see in real time, the experience orbs are going up as plants get harvested. Additionally, when there's a new animal product, if it doesn't stack with something, you know, you'll see them pop right in. So you can see that in real time, which is really cool. And then the other thing that's really convenient is the terminal will show you everything in the connected container. So this was something else that gave me some grief. You have to actually put this little guy, which is a storage bridge. You actually have to place a storage bridge in the lower left of whatever container you're using. Not really a big deal, but that's a minor detail that I had not initially read that is actually pretty dang important. So, you know, now everything, basically everything that is getting harvested in this room is getting dumped into this 300 slot fridge. And I thought that that would work better because a lot of animal products, you know, are food, right? Eggs are food and they're going to go bad. And I actually have this plant right here. It's like a meat bulb and it literally just grows steaks. So those steaks would otherwise go bad. There's also a chili plant. And I think those are the only 3 that are actually going to go bad that I've got growing. But I just felt like, you know, whatever. I'll do the fridge, and then I used enhanced storage. That mod allows you to take any container and at a relatively minimal cost, you can turn it into a container up to 300 slots. It is physically identical on the outside, but then on the inside it is 300 slots, and I can rename it to say, you know, like farm produce, right? And then if we save this, the chic fridge is now farm produce, and I believe that's going to save, yep, all the other wiring configurations and everything there. So pretty convenient. But yeah, this took me a very long time to get set up, kind of embarrassingly long. And when I finally did it, I was pretty dang happy. I was pretty pleased with myself that I was finally able to get this functioning. So the next order of business is going to be to start repopulating my apiaries. Bees are one of my favorite aspects of Frackin Universe. Oop, I have a popsicle that I've forgotten about, so I'm going to be eating my popsicle while I talk. So, bees are a part of Frackin Universe that I really, really enjoy. Breeding bees and getting some rare materials out of them is really rewarding. And, you know, I think 9 apiaries is more than enough. And I think what I will also do is I will place a single flower between each of the apiaries because bees have a favorite flower. I do not know what they are. I am not really interested in doing the appropriate testing to figure that out. But it is my understanding that bees all do have a favorite flower. It is also my understanding that bees cannot get mites on a space station like this. So I won't need to worry about my beehives getting infested with mites, which is really convenient because that can be a real hassle. Also, it's also my understanding that a space station does not count as any particular climate, right? It's not on a lava planet. It's not on a lush planet. It's not on a desert planet. So all bees will survive. So there aren't any bees that are going to die out because it's too hot or too cold, which I've also found very convenient. The only issue I've ever come across is the very rare occasion where 2 bees are directly next to each other. Right? They'd be in like 2 apiaries next to each other, or maybe just close, if they are bee types that are antagonistic. And I have only had this happen once. I don't even remember what types they were. I just moved their apiaries further apart, and it was fine. So I have actually done a lot of work already. If we look here, this is, I've got 16 bee types. I should actually upgrade this storage, frankly. Man, nothing hits like a Freezy Pop when it is really, really warm out. So I've got 16 B-types. These 4 I actually don't have any drones of, because these 2, when I was breeding, all their drones died out because I'm dumb. And these 2, you can see I just caught them. So these are brand new to me. I don't believe I've ever caught an assassin. And I have caught an artisan before, but artisans are new on this character. There are a lot here that I don't really care about. I actually am kind of over bumblebees, orchids, and honey drones. But I have 9 apiaries and 16 B-types, so I will kind of have to choose which ones I'm going to do. Now, I also have some options here in terms of setting up an ITD, and what you need to do here, which I will at least show. I don't think I'll actually do it quite yet, but what you can do is you can set your item transference device to only take. Right now, it's set to just take everything. So anything that gets picked up by the grabber is going through the ITD, right? So these grabbers, as soon as they grab something, the ITD transfers them where they need to go. So nothing stays here for very long, right? See, you saw those items go in, they are already gone. And that's what we want, right? Right now, we just want these items to be picked up and shoved into the refrigerator. With bees, it's a little bit different because I will show what I'm talking about. Beehives have a number of inputs already, so I can actually put any item here. This won't do anything, but you'll notice that I shift-clicked them over. So the first 5 inputs on the apiary are actually your crafting materials to generate outputs. So you actually don't want your ITD to take anything that's in the first 5 inputs. So you can do that. I suppose I don't really need to explain all of this. I can do this in a separate video that gets uploaded, but I will do that right now. I think that's going to be what I get done in this video. So we definitely need to get an item transference device, which is a bunch of stuff. Gosh, I feel like I should write this down. Teleporter. Okay, so electromagnet, silicon, iron, lead, glass. Okay, I think I have most of it. So teleporter core, iron bar, laser diode, glass. I think, was there silicon boards and electromagnet. Alright, I think that is everything you need. Yep. And that allows me to make an item transference device. So we are going to assemble. Then the other thing we're going to want to do, I think the way we need to do this is I believe we need to have a storage bridge for every single apiary. Now we will test this. We will test this with one apiary, and then we will expand. So the way we're going to do this is set the item transference device. What do I have in here right now? Okay, these are all of my seeds, which is fine. But this is a little big, and it's kind of in the way. So what I'm going to do with this, all my blocks are in my storage. I need to get some blocks. So what I'm going to do here is, first off, we're going to figure out exactly how high this goes. Okay. So if I wanted to put it down like that, right above my menu bar. Okay, so we will go like this, I think should be okay, except not like that. And let's see. Nope, looks like we need a little more, a couple more blocks here. Let's hope 3 does the trick. 3 does, in fact, do the trick. Get rid of that one. Okay, so this is convenient because now I kind of have this tucked away a little bit. And there are also some drones in here, which is fine. Again, this is just a dumping ground for seeds. I mostly decided to do that because I was getting a little bit tired of having my inventory here, right? My seed inventory completely full of stuff. So it looks like our chicks did hatch. Before we get going, let's just keep going along, hatching some of these things. These are what I actually want hatched. I only need 3. We'll hatch 4 Orbis. If we hatch too many, they're gonna eat me out of house and home. So right now I've got some stuff that should keep most of the guys alive. But we'll have to keep our eyes peeled. If we start seeing some black squiggles above their head, that means they're not happy. They're starving. They don't need food. I'm also a little bit worried because I definitely had some Orbises before, and I don't really know what happened. They just disappeared. I don't know if Pop Tops can eat them or what happened, but I definitely had 2 Orbis, and they just were gone. I suppose it is possible, however improbable, that I have them in the relocator. Nope. No, I actually just thought of that. I thought that might be a possibility. I did make the mistake a couple of times of having followers come with me, and they would open this gate, so I wonder if they like wandered out and somehow wound up dead. I don't even know if that's possible. So, anyways, we are working on the B ITD now. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to hook up all of the apiaries to another large chest. And the way we're going to want to do that is I think we are going to do that as a wall storage. I don't even remember what I had put in here. Okay, that's fine. I'll just take all of it. So what we are going to want to do, it's my understanding that everything needs to connect to an ITD immediately. That was my biggest takeaway. It could be a couple of things, but that was something that I definitely got out of that. So we're going to put our storage bridge right there. It needs to connect to the bottom left of the container you're using. Not entirely sure why, but I guess that's considered the anchor point. And so in terms of the coding, in terms of, transferring those items via a wire, it has to transfer those to the anchor point of that container, which for pretty much all storage is the lower left. I'm not anchoring this guy because I'm just not going to bother with that. And it is possible, I could even add a second one and have another anchor to it so that in case the first one fills up, the second one would start filling up. Just another option. I'm not really going to explore that right now, but that might be something I do when I want to get a little bit more involved with this, because there are some really, really powerful things you can do with ITDs. So what we want to do now is figure out where the ITD actually got placed, right here. Okay, so here's our ITD. You kind of want it a couple of tiles away from things, from what my investigation yielded last time. So I think we'll just put it right here. And then what we want to do, so let me kind of double check what I did. All of our crafting benches need to get placed directly into the right output of the ITD. So all of our outputs go to the right input, and the red is our output from our apiaries. So all of our apiaries going like this. And that's really all I need to do, because the bug harvester turrets, they will have anything that they snag grabbed by the grabbers. And I don't really think this is possible, but theoretically, if the apiaries were to fill up and this wall storage or whatever, if that also fills up, then the apiaries dump excess items outside of them, and then those excess items will, of course, get grabbed by my grabber, and anything additional will get dumped here. Okay, so we do have a grown Orbis now, because we got spare parts. So where is that guy? I don't see him. I see the robot chickens. I thought they gave us batteries. But that's fine, whatever. What are we running out of? Okay. Nothing right now. I wonder, will the hens eat iron bars or electromagnets? I will put one of each here, just to see if I wind up with something that'll eat iron bars or electromagnets. Okay, so all of our apiaries are connected into our item transference device. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a little test, a very, very short test. We're going to look here, and so our input, our blue, is going to be the item network. So we're going like this. Boom. So right now I have not filtered my ITD at all. So all items that get placed into the apiary should, crossing our fingers, get ripped out of the apiary, and we should find them in the wall storage. Yep. 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 So it looks like this is set up correctly, right? Every item that I'm placing in the apiary is getting taken out, and we should find them right in here. Perfect. So this is where it gets slightly more complicated. The ITD is an absolute... It is not particularly clear. I had to experiment with this a lot, and I really, really wanted to figure this out on my own, and I could not. I did have to watch another video on this, which luckily did explain it. But what we want to do is we want to utilize some of this powerful selection in order to dictate exactly what is getting taken from our apiaries. So the functionality here is we can either allow or restrict based on input slots, which is really what we're going to want. We can allow or restrict the output slots, which I can see that being useful in some situations, but not really for a small item network. And then you can even get pretty ridiculous down here insofar as, like, I could put an iron bar here, and this is considered item 1. So I could say, all right, any item that is the same category as an iron bar, crafting material, I can say, well, we want to restrict where it goes, or let's say, like, we want to inverse our logic, right? That's what inv logic means. I thought it meant inventory logic, but it doesn't. So you can say, well, we want to inverse our logic. So this means anything that's the same category as an iron bar. Inversing that, of course, means anything that's not the same category as the iron bar. So we're still going to do this pretty easily, but what we do want to restrict is we want to ensure that anything we place in these inputs does not get sucked out by the ITD. So these are our inputs. All of our apiaries are our inputs. So we are going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are going to say input slots 1 through 5. And right now, this would be allowing input slots 1 through 5. But what we want to do is invert that. We want to say that we're not allowing 1 through 5. And I'm not sure if this green actually means it's inverted or if the red means that it's inverted. But we can test that really quickly, right? So now that I've said the 5 input slots, I should be able to repeat that same thing I just did. And if I put them in the output, they should get taken. Yep. But if I put them in the input, they should not. God, I'm so good. I was a little worried. I was like, oh, I really hope I did it right. So look at that. So now this is really good because normally what would happen if you don't do that, you're going to put bees in your beehive, your apiary, and before they can even start breeding, the ITD is going to suck them right out, and you're not gonna get them to do anything. Now I have it set up where all of our inputs are protected. And then our outputs are what will start being taken and deposited into our wall storage. Now I think before I do this, I am going to starve to death. Before I do this, I don't think 130 slots is enough. I'm going to be totally honest. So luckily, this is only breaking one connection. Our connection, right? Our ITD is still completely fine. All of our rules we fed into the ITD, all of our inputs into the ITD are all fine. I am going to instead just utilize a metal crate. Because these metal crates I modified using enhanced storage again to get 300 slots. So we've got a lot of space here, and we just have to hook that up, do the same kind of thing. Take a storage bridge, place it down there, and then we go output to input. And do a quick test here, make sure that the item that goes in the output item that goes in the input does not get taken. We're good there, and we should have our item solar panel sitting in the metal crate. We're going to rename this to bees, and color is yellow, of course. I don't really know how this changes anything, but let's try it. Bees. So bees has 300 slots. And anything that goes into the apiaries will get transferred into this container. So now all we need to do is choose the bees that we're going to breed. Oh, the other thing I need to do is I'm going to need to make some more frames. Right now, I just made 4 new large apiaries. I only have 10 Durasteel frames. So if I have 9, I'm going to need 8 more Durasteel frames. So what do we need for a Durasteel frame? If I need 8 more, I need 16 Durasteel, 16 silk, 16 canvas. Silk and canvas I actually hate making, so I usually just go buy that. But we'll see what we have access to. Not silk J. Okay, I do have a bunch of silk. That's great. Canvas. Do not have a lot of canvas. Canvas is made from cotton. Do I have a bunch of cotton? I do have quite a bit of cotton. So we can take that, and then we also will need Durasteel. Got plenty of Durasteel. Then what we want to do is quick make our canvas. That's going to be at the clothing place. Yeah. So canvas is just a bunch of cotton wool. So let's just go ham with the cotton wool. I should probably have a couple of cotton plants in my little farm area, but I don't. This is actually not enough canvas. I need 8 more canvas. So the way that we're going to deal with that is just really quickly go back to the arc or whatever. The place that's on the first moon base, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. This place. It does make me realize that when you're in a space station, there's no music. So Starbound was really quiet for a long time there. So canvas. I've got 50K. Let's buy 40. That just means I don't have to worry about it for a little while at least. Then we can go back to the Leibniz. Yeah, Leibniz. My space station is named the Leibniz because I literally went onto a random name generator for a satellite, and it gave me the Leibniz. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So it's the Leibniz. I also made the Eye of Horus, which I think looked pretty dang good. I was surprised with how it turned out. I do want to do a little bit more work to make this room a little bit more interesting, but right now I think that's fine. So, we've still got some work to do here. The one thing that is kind of annoying is you need to turn this eye on every time you leave. And what the eye is going to do is keep all of our wired, basically keep all of our wires moving, right? Anything that's wired, it's going to keep it powered, and it's going to keep the wires doing what they are designed to do. So yeah, look at this. We've already gotten 13 spare parts. We're starting to get some AA batteries from the robotic hens. And we are up to 760 experience orbs, which the experience orbs are a byproduct of picking plants. And so interestingly, the ITD grabs the experience orbs as well. That's actually something I wasn't super aware of. So now we can make the 8 Durasteel frames that we need. Durasteel is just a good mix of power. You know, 2.2 to production, 2.5 to drone toughness, 1.5 to queen lifespan, a little bit of mutation. This is really convenient. The next level up from Durasteel is Solarium, and maybe there's one in between. Titanium is higher or lower, so it's Durasteel, Dense Alloy. Yeah, and I just feel like Dense Alloy and Biothread are a lot harder to get than Durasteel. So Durasteel is like the good mix of, it's like the bang for your buck, right? It's pretty middle of the road, and I like that. Eventually, I will probably try to switch to Solarium because it does give the most production, and you know, it gives the most stats. I just don't think it's super necessary. And again, like I had said before, bees on a space station are never going to get mites. And we don't really need stuff like the universal frame, right? This biome is considered like a null biome, so at least as far as I understand, every bee can survive just fine. And we also don't need, you know, like a volcanic frame, and we don't need like the anti-mite frames. There's no reason to add mite resistance because there aren't mites, because there's no atmosphere outside of this space station, and I did not invite mites in. So our first thing we're going to do is we're going to load up all of our apiaries. So this is actually the first time I've ever done anything with item networks, and I really banged my head against the wall for a good portion of the day. But, you know, figuring out how this stuff works is pretty rewarding, and it's going to save me a lot of time in the long run. I'm actually really surprised I didn't do it earlier. My last playthrough, I spent a lot. I mean, like, gosh, I probably spent 3/4 of the time on that playthrough just working with bees. I don't know. I'm weird, but I found that really fun. So that is all ready to go. Now we just need to select our bees. So the way we're going to do that, I need to get off camera for this. I basically just need to pick 9 of these. And for starters, we're going to go with our 4 new ones. Or at least 2 new ones, and then the 2 that need some drones. And what I'm going to do is just find one that has pretty good stats. One that I've been breeding a lot. I actually think, yep, the sand prowlers are the best here. So we are going to take 10 sand prowler drones for each. That should be enough to get them started and start breeding their own drones. That should work just fine. And then we will want 4 more. So we will do 10 of each of these. And yeah, let's do the Scoria. And yep, we'll do the Rhyme Wing as well. That's a good one. Cybernetic is really good. And I think we will also do Sweat. So these are the 9 that I've chosen. And really then all I need to ensure that I do is get at least 1 young queen for each and save at least 10 drones, right? So I usually just save a bunch, but generally I try to hold on to at least 10. So here we go, and we should start seeing the effects of the item network very, very quickly. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this works. Did we get that one? No. So I will need to monitor that. Okay, so like this one is nighttime only. Are there any more? Looks like our first one is not producing. So Artisan is nighttime only as well. Okay. So on a space station, day-night cycles last a really, really long time. So let's just find 2 more that will produce during the day. And what I should really do is try to get all of these bred so that they will also produce wait. Okay, yeah, I need day. Yeah, because it is technically day. Ideally, in fact, I'll put that back. Ideally, what you do is you get the ones that will produce day and night. Just to save. Be a little bit more efficient. It's my understanding that you can also breed them to make them breed day or night. That anything can be forced. Okay, so we're breeding, we're breeding, we're breeding, we're breeding, we're breeding, breeding, breeding. So what's going to happen then is once this first input fills up, yep, you saw those outputs immediately get taken. So once this first drone input fills up, oh, and here goes, yep, and watch, then that be, oh, it's not going to get grabbed. That means then that I will have to move this grabber V2 is just, oh, and I didn't even pick it up because one of the other grabbers grabbed the grabber. So I should see a grabber in here. Yep, there's a grabber. There's also a Rhyme Wing Queen. So with this grabber, what we want to do wherever it wound up getting placed. Did I even grab it, or am I really as dumb as I look? I think I might be as dumb as I look. That is definitely not what I want to do. I grabbed it. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So if we take the grabber, and let's just put it more on the edge here, right? There's no reason to not have it be on the edge, because this guy has a range of 12. So then all we need to do is take the grabber and hook it up, just like that. So now we shouldn't see that oddness happening again where something falls over here and doesn't get picked up. So let's see what we've got. Look at that. It is going. So this is this is aggregating all of the outputs from all of the apiaries, which is super convenient. So we'll be getting a lot of different items, and ultimately we're going to be getting a lot of young queens. And so what I might actually want to do then is use this as an output into another item network that automatically identifies young queens. You can do that by, you know, basically using, well, you can't see where I'm pointing with my finger, but using this, see the output. I can use the output here, the lower output, to go into another ITD over here, which oh, maybe you can't, because there's no input on the microscope. Oh, that's unfortunate. Or can you? Gosh, it would be tough. It would really be a hassle, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could do it. Maybe I could figure that out. In the meantime, let's look at how our drone numbers are doing here. I am a little interested to see that. So 288, 500 already, almost 500, over 500, 350, 330, 261, almost 400, almost 300. Okay, so they're like really plugging along. And yeah, so we will get a couple of queens from getting snagged by the bug harvester turrets. But by and large, the queens should get all dumped in here. We should get our young queens in here. And so this has a ton of space. The other thing that's really awesome about apiaries in particular, and the way bees are handled, is that when I leave the planet, the bees technically still operate. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. The bees still operate. Technically, they don't. But what's going to happen is, for all the time that passes where I am gone, once I come back, the apiaries will like play catch-up. So they will basically go through a bunch of cycles before I can interact with them. But it just means that being gone still gives you production. It does run the risk of having your bees die, but it does give you all that production. So this is why I want to take a bunch of drones out, just to guarantee that I have those for another breeding cycle. So we're going to do that right now. No need to wait longer. Red-banded drone, a single drone I don't really care about. And this is pretty marginal. You don't really even need to do this, because technically you only need one type of drone ever. But, you know, whatever. It's fine. It's good. So we've got Golden Saints. That, I suppose, will go right there. And our cybernetics got an upgrade, and our leaf cutters are new, and our scorias got an upgrade. Rhyme Wing was one of the ones I had lost out on. Cosmonauts got an upgrade, and Aquarum, I don't know what you want to call it, got a little bit of an upgrade. So we'll go like this. Artisan we can put here. Assassin goes there, and boom. Okay, so these drones are extra, so then I'll be able to sell these at the bee refuge. Looks like we've got a bee down here. Hopefully, okay, that's not quite the way I wanted you to go. I was going to say, hopefully it goes back up. Looks like it might no, okay. Well, the reason these turrets were placed right here is I kind of felt like anywhere the bug goes, right, it's going to get zapped, right? It's not going to really have an opportunity to go around here, but apparently I was wrong. I might have another, yep, I do have another bug harvester, so I can, I can't. I suppose I could just do this. Go like that and just have another one. So that there's not real, like, it would be pretty tough for something to evade both of these. Obviously that one did, but it's not the end of the world. So yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. So, we've got a second item network going. And with the Watcher active, that means that I can literally leave, at least leave the area, right? I can go to another portion of my space station, right? Like I can hang out down here, and it will still function. So let's just play something. So like what I would probably want to do now is get my alternator generators hooked up. I certainly don't have enough right now, but I could automatically have wood or coal fed into the alternator generators. I could have an item network set up to automatically take everything out of sifters or extractors or whatever. So another really, really convenient feature of ITDs. In fact, that might be the route I go right now, is getting another ITD set up for all of this stuff. And I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about the transmatter terminal. I really like that it allows me to store everything in a very, very small space. Unlike this, where, you know, in here I can really only store 300 items like this. Right, I can only store up to 300 items. Multiple stacks, of course, but I can only store up to 300 items here. Whereas, oh gosh, we've got a couple of bees hanging around now. That is really not what I want. Let's get another bug harvesting turret going. We'll do one there. And do I have, yeah, I have some space over here. So that should prevent the issue. Otherwise, you just hear the constant buzzing, which I really don't think we want. But that one bee did, like, escape. Went down here and probably despawned because it got too far away. Yeah, I don't even see it anymore. This is a little intense. So let's play something else. How about gravitational collapse? Or actually, we would want it on loop. Yeah, but the transmitter network, you know, it's got its strength in that, like, it can store an infinite amount in one single square. The downside is if I want to search, it does allow you to do that, but it is a little bit frustrating that I can't just browse, right? There's no scroll bar. I can't I can't look at everything. Right, there's nothing I can do here to modify the window, which is a little bit frustrating. Yeah, so like it's fine, and it is really awesome that it's a phenomenal amount of space that it saves. Like right now, I have two 64K storage drives. You can make 256K storage drives, so 4 times the amount of space in a single drive. One drive bay has 8 slots for storage drives, and all of my items are taking up about 3/4 of one 64K drive. Like, this is literally all of my crafting materials. Like, everything. I mean, if I, like I did before, if I look up bars, this is all of the bars that I have, or I guess anything that has bar in the name, because you see cinnabar. Or like ore, right? It's all of my ores, right? So all of the everything is stored in this very small space. It is literally just this square, which is a huge space saver. Huge space saver. I do have this as well, just for some of the kind of more interesting items that you stumble across. Got anything that is like technically a unique item, or maybe has a unique mechanic, or only drops from like one place. Like drops from a boss. Also got a couple Borderlands shields I'm trying to hold on to for a little while. So yeah, maybe I'll use this a little bit longer. The only thing I don't like about it is with item network, I could have all of these crafting benches hooked up to an item network that I was able to access immediately as well. This way, with the storage drive, I don't believe I can do that. I suppose I could test it. And the way we would do that, I would need another item transference device. So I think what we want to do here is, do we want to like dump like that? All right, I'm gonna see if this works. So we're at 47,683. This has volcanic ash. If I hook this up like that, okay, so it does not appear that that works. Where did I put the StarTech storage thing? I must have gotten rid of that for some reason. Oh, I just have it in my inventory. So we are actually just going to get rid of this refinery. I don't have any desire to turn ore into pixel pretty much ever. So throw this down here. Yeah, it was really funny that the gate for me for making these storage chips was literally sand. So the big thing here, the storage bus, connects external storage to a transmatter network. Okay, so then I wonder if this is going to function identically to a storage bus connects external storage to a transmitter network. Okay. So, like, that maybe? Does that do it? No. However, then maybe that means that if I look up volcanic... Nope, that doesn't work either. I was thinking, oh, maybe it will still let me see the items. No, it does not. Whatever. I can still do this. And I can still verify that oh yeah, what I need to do is this, and we go output to input, output to input, and we should see the volcanic ash in here then. Yep. So then what we don't want is we don't want input 1. So we add 1 and we inverse. Same thing there. So now if we dump that, it does not get taken, but the volcanic ash in slot 1 does. Man, now that I get it, it is astounding how powerful this is going to be. Absolutely astounding. So then all I need to do is hook up all of our outputs to our input here. Output to input. Output to input. And I believe the blast furnace only has 1 input as well. Yep, so we will similarly do output to input. Industrial centrifuge has 2 inputs. Okay. So what would that mean? And lab centrifuge has 3, and Xeno lab has 3. So what we would want to do then is we would want to block the first 2 of everything with a completely useless item that is never going to be generated, right? So we'd have to do something like that, except I'd have to change the rules. Otherwise, I could have, I could have an ITD for the 4 sifters, and I could have an ITD for the blast furnace, and I could have an ITD for the centrifuge, and blah, 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 and blue, blue, and all that other stuff. So there are some options there as well. Again, just showcasing how powerful this really is, and the options that I have for doing this. So how much coal do I have? I have 96. So let's do this and just kind of see how it works for a little bit. Right, so these will start sifting. Oh, and you can see when items are actually being transferred. Okay, that's really helpful. I actually really appreciate that. I never knew that because I so very rarely actually have my wire mode on. So when we look at this, we should start seeing items being dumped directly into here. We'll call this craft dumpage. This will be a real nice purple. So we've got our craft dumpage. We got our neat items. We're doing real well here. Okay, so what do we need for the blast furnace? This thing needs like a ton of power, right? 22 watts of power. So we need to work on our power generation. That is kind of our big one now. So I probably want to make combustion generators, because the alternators are stuck at 4, and that's pretty lousy. Pretty lousy indeed. Combustion goes up to 10. So it's a little more space saving. I think we're going to be using a lot of combustion. So we'll have some setups kind of like this. So what do I need for combustion? Because I'm an idiot and didn't look the first time. Tungsten, oxygen, silver, advanced circuit. Pretty easy to remember. So we need tungsten, silver, advanced circuit, and oxygen. Wow, I don't have a lot of oxygen. So how many can I make? I'm going to be limited to 8. Yeah, 8 should be plenty here. And the way we're going to want to arrange these is in a way that makes sense. So some of these things are going to get moved. Like this. And okay, blast furnace. Alright, I did already have 2 combustion generators. That is good. So the way we're going to do this is I'm basically going to have them stacked up. And we're going to do it that way because I believe that that is going to be more space saving. So what do we have for platforms? Not a lot, surprisingly. I mean, I do have a bunch of wooden platforms, but I don't think that's really ideal. They look sort of shoddy. But I'm not winning any beauty contests right now. Now the question is, am I going to be able to get another one on top of that? Unfortunately, no. It does not look like that is going to fit there. Right? It would need to be that high. Which I suppose I can sort of renegotiate what I've got going on here. This side can come down, and then it's going to be like that. So it's basically right over my head as well. Yep, just like that. Alright, let's see how many we can get here then. Where the hell did I put them? Because I'm an idiot and I do this kind of thing every single freaking time. Here we go. Does it fit there? Yes, perfect. Oh my gosh, look at that. Dang, dude. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Alright. Then I want a power relay, which we're going to do with a large power sensor. A large sensor that displays power levels flowing into it. That is exactly what we want. Up to $9.99. Moochie Gucci. Okay, now where is this going to go? It has to go on an actual surface. And it does have an input. I'm not sure how this is supposed to work then. It's only got an input, it does not have an output. So not really sure how that's going to function. Let's look up wood. I don't... Crap. Did I get any... Okay, all of that's hooked up to here now. Did I get any coal? I got a little tiny bit of coal. I believe you can also burn core fragments. I don't really remember though. Let me double check. Because it should eat it immediately if it's going to work. It will not burn core fragments. Okay, so I'm stuck with coal and wood. Well, so then what do we want to do? Is that gone already? Oh, yeah. So we want to go... wait, how do we want to do this? Like this? Is that going to work how I think? And then also hook it up to a sifter? We'll try it. Is there anything in the sifter? There is. We have volcanic ash, 1866. So let's see if this works. We've got 3 power going in. 5. We are now powering our 2 sifters somehow. I have no idea how that is working. It's generating 12 power right now. Yeah, that works. So you basically just have the output also going there. Okay. So that's fine. We'll wait until this is done. I'll take out the rest. And then we'll watch it die down here. Now we're down to 9 power. 7. 5. 3. And then it should go out. Yep. Okay. I gotta say, I have no idea how it powered both. Does not make any sense to me. But somehow it did. I wonder if these 2 are actually hooked up like this. Like I went from here to here and then there to there. which would be really weird of me to have done that, but maybe that's what it is. Regardless, it doesn't really matter because these are going to get removed. Which maybe I shouldn't have done because we had just set up the ITD to function with those. But that's okay. That is okay. We are going to move this. So we'll be able to set up kind of an apparatus on either side. This one will be feeding sifters, and then this one will probably just feed everything else. Not that I need 10 sifters. In fact, this will probably be able to power everything, let's be real. Although I probably want the upgrade from Sifter now, so let's look at what we have available. I believe there is a better powder sifter. So we need titanium bar and sifters. So we've got our 4 sifters. I need more advanced circuits. Titanium bar and battery. Man, this is a hassle having to go back and forth between everything all the time. Advanced circuit, I need graphene. Gotta go back and grab graphene. This is the only thing I don't like about the way these are set up, I suppose. I could probably, you know what I could probably do is I could have a terminal down here as well. And it would be set up to the same storage network. Graphene. And that will let us make a bunch of advanced circuits. Let's do... Can we do 40? Yes, we can. I'm going to starve. So as soon as I get this set up, I know this is another little bit longer video here. But I think there was some good stuff going on today, and a lot of things that I should really put together into some sort of tutorial, because I think some of these things are a little bit more opaque than others. That chest can be moved; it does not need to be right there. Yep. So we've got that item network there. And we want to make our powder sifters. Now we should, yep, that's enough to make all 4. Okay. Cool. Liquid mixer. I don't think we're going to be getting a lot of use out of that anytime soon. We made the blast furnace. The arc smelter is still a ways off. I still have not found any isogen, and I don't even know how to make a focusing array. So that is going to happen later. So I'm going to get these 4 powder sifters hooked up. And yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. That is going to be perfect. Is that not going to fit? No, it's not going to fit. We'll have to do it like that. In which case, because I am a perfectionist, we will move them so that they can all be perfectly lined up. Ah, look at that. Okay. So what we will want to do is go output to input. This is going to be a mess. Okay, so here's how I'm going to do it, actually. We're going to... we're going to get this reinforced tech block stuff. And that is going to be used as background. Out like this. I know it doesn't look pretty, but it doesn't need to. We are going to remove that. The power signal is going to go here. And we are going to use a power relay, which, frankly, I have no idea what that's going to look like. Repeater? No. Transmits power, use with care. Okay, so I need 2 copper wire. And cut that. I'm actually going to put that underneath. Just going to go like that. Power relay. And I'm actually going to make a second one, because we'll want one for the other side as well. And the power relay is going to go just like that. Maybe that's not ideal. Let's go like that then. Should be a little bit more space. I just think some of the inputs were crowding each other. Upper input is your power switch. So everything just needs to go into the power relay. Just like this. And then we go output there, and output to input, output to input, output to input, output to input. Am I too far away? There we go. Okay, I was going to say, is that like too many connections? Then, from here, we have to go output to, I think it's the right one. Yes, input 2, and output to input, and output to input, and I'm too far away, still too far away? Output to input, okay. So that is hooked up. Now what we should see is when I power a number of these devices, we should start seeing some of those guys start working. However, I don't think I actually have enough coal to really get any of that started. So I am going to end the video here. I am going to putz around for a little bit and make sure all of this stuff works, and then I might get started on the one on the right. I might be back to stream again for an hour. This has actually been really, really fun for me, as weird as that sounds. I've been putting off exploring ITDs for a long time, and now that I'm finally doing it, I'm kind of like, dude, this is really cool. So yeah, maybe you'll see me again in a little bit. Otherwise, probably see me tomorrow. Thanks for watching.